Most people use cement and concrete like they're the same thing. But they're not. And once you see the difference, you'll start noticing people say it wrong everywhere. Welcome to the Smart Side. This channel is all about learning how everyday things really work. So what's the real difference between cement and concrete? And why do we all mix them up? Here's the easiest way to remember it. Cement is an ingredient. Concrete is the finished mix. Cement is like flour. Concrete is like cake. You don't build a house out of flour, and you don't build a bridge out of cement by itself. Alright, let's break it down in a super simple way. Cement is a fine powder that acts like glue when you add water. The most common type is Portland cement. It's made by heating limestone and clay to extremely high temperatures until it turns into hard chunks called clinker, and then those chunks get ground into powder. Now here's the part people miss. Cement by itself isn't what you see in sidewalks and buildings. Because cement alone would shrink, crack, and fall apart pretty easily. So we mix cement with other materials to make it strong and practical. And that final mixture is concrete. Concrete is made from 4 basic things: cement, water, sand, and gravel or crushed stone. Sand and gravel are called aggregates, and they make up most of the volume. So here's the real secret. Concrete is mostly rocks, held together by cement glue. That's why concrete is strong and relatively affordable, because you're mostly using rock and sand, and only a smaller portion is cement. Now, if cement is the glue, what actually happens when you add water? This is the cool part. Cement doesn't dry like paint. It sets because of a chemical reaction with water. That reaction is called hydration. When cement meets water, it forms tiny crystal structures that grow and lock together, almost like microscopic roots spreading through the mix. Those crystals bind the sand and gravel into one solid mass. And that's what turns wet concrete into something that feels like stone. And here's another thing most people don't know. Concrete doesn't reach full strength overnight. It keeps getting stronger for weeks because hydration keeps going as long as there's moisture. That's why builders cure concrete, meaning they keep it from drying out too fast. If it dries too quickly, the reaction slows down, and the concrete can crack, or end up weaker than it should be. So why do we mix up the words so much? Because we say things like cement sidewalk or cement driveway. But almost always, we actually mean concrete. Cement is inside it, yes, but it's not the whole thing. Here's a quick way to test yourself. If you can see little rocks in it, it's concrete. If it's a smooth gray powder before you add water, that's cement. One more super important detail. Concrete is very strong when you compress it, when you squeeze it. But it's not great when you pull it or bend it. That's why we use rebar, steel bars inside concrete. Steel handles tension. Concrete handles compression, and together they make structures that are insanely strong. So let's recap in one clean line. Cement is the glue. Concrete is the rock and sand mix that glue holds together. Or even simpler, cement is an ingredient. Concrete is the product. So next time someone says cement sidewalk, you'll know what's really going on. And you might quietly smile, because now you've got it right. And if you enjoyed this and learned something new, I'd really appreciate it if you hit like and subscribe. It would mean a lot to me and to the channel, and it helps the Smart Side reach more curious people like you.